cold, Molly.
Yeah, there's a lot of places, Lynette, that they have the cold, but they don't have the snow, and that makes the cold sting just a little bit more, right? At least it does in my opinion. There's places like Atlanta, Birmingham. You were right on the edge of seeing that wintry precipitation, but it didn't quite make it there. Instead, we've got a bunch of wind chill advisories and wind chill warnings, not just for areas like the Ohio Valley, but all the way down in Texas and parts of Florida. Here's why. It's 25 in Tallahassee, but of course, the more important number is what it feels like. And in Tallahassee, you're going to be dressing for 16 this morning. Believe it or not, the cold air has made it all the way down to the Gulf Coast. In New Orleans, it feels like 22, 16 for you in Corpus Christi. We will see some improvements this afternoon. The sun is out. However, where we have all of that snow on the ground, like in Nashville or in Memphis or Little Rock, we're going to stay plenty cold, and the snow is not going anywhere. We're going to see a slight moderation in temperatures, and I mean ever so slight. We'll see a small warm up before the end of the week, and then by Friday, right into the weekend, we'll see another push of some very cold Arctic air. This is not what we were seeing last weekend when we had 50 to 60 below in the northern tier, but it's still plenty cold by Saturday morning. Omaha, 30 below zero. That's your wind chill to start off the weekend. Portland area and around the I-5 corridor, where we have seen ice accumulations, and right now we're running at about 1/4 of an inch in a lot of places, and that's right on the threshold where you start to see a lot of problems. Travel, of course, even just a small glaze of ice can cause a lot of travel issues, but you start to get into the range of 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch of ice, up to 3/4 of an inch of ice, like what we're going to see on the I-84 corridor, and that's when you start to see tree damage, widespread power outages, and those power outage numbers are already climbing this morning. Yesterday, I think we dipped to around 50,000 customers without power, and now we're back up to 85,000 customers and climbing because the ice is still accumulating. A little bit of good news, we will eventually transition into all rain, and that should put an end to some of those ice accumulations. But then we're going to see snow. This is the great part of the system, is that we are continuing to add to the snowpack in parts of the Cascades. So impressive so far this year. We're going to watch our winter storm move to the east. We have some energy that's diving south out of Canada. Those two are going to combine, move across the Ohio Valley, and then eventually bring it right into the northeast. So we're talking snow, and of course, with that, another shot of some cold air. We're already seeing the lake effect snow machine, but Steph, we're going to see even more lake effect snow as we head towards the weekend.
Now we are. Buffalo is getting blasted.
Jordan, I'm thinking about 2 weeks ago when you were in Scranton and when we had the snow and we didn't have the Arctic air yet, and you had these packable snowballs, so much so that you were able to juggle them. I don't even think you would be able to make a snowball today out of that. It's so dry.
You literally can't. I mean, you could. Molly, sorry if you were here.
Well, I just know it wouldn't hurt if you did throw it at me.
That's
Jordan.
true. It would.
Thank you so much there in the snow in Buffalo. Well, it's going to be sunny. Hopefully you were at America's Morning headquarters. Jackie Jarris was in Central Park, and her excitement was contagious, and she had all these dogs and kids running around her. Everyone's so happy to see the snow in Central Park in New York because it had been 701 days since we saw 1 inch of snow on one day. Now, also Philly, Baltimore, Washington, D.C. breaking their snowless streaks, and we will add some snow as we get towards the weekend with our next system that's going to be swinging out of the west across the lower 48 and eventually into the Ohio Valley and parts of the Northeast. Some disagreements still in our models, as you would expect. The GFS tends to ramp up those amounts a lot, and that's exactly what you're seeing, but fairly good agreement along the I-95 corridor of about 1 to 3 inches of snow, maybe a little bit more if we start to see this low pressure area get a little bit stronger. So we've got the lake effect snow towards the end of the week. That's where you just saw Jordan there in Buffalo and up towards the Tug Hill Plateau. And then here comes our system as we start off the weekend. Friday morning, we'll start off with snow in Philly, Washington, D.C., New York. That continues throughout the better part of today, or the better part of the day on Friday. And then towards the weekend, we get to Saturday, and it's out of here. So how much snow are we talking? A place like Pittsburgh, 2 to 3 inches of snow. You go to the south, maybe 3 to 4 inches of snow as it gets a little bit stronger in our higher elevations. And we're going to start off Friday morning in Pittsburgh with snow, and it's going to snow for the better part of the day on Friday. By the time we wake up on the weekend, Steph, it's a snow day. I mean, we don't have school anyways, but it's a snow day.
Right, exactly. Get out.